أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Respected mu'mineen and mu'minat, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states in the Holy Quran, Surah Al-Isra, verse number 9, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Inna hadha al-Qur'ana yahdi lillati hiya aqwam. Verily this Quran, this recital, guides to the most upright path and gives good and glad tidings to those who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The grand book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The incredible, most profound verses of the transcendent reality, Allah Azza wa Jal, that were bestowed upon the heart of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, فَإِنَّهُ نَزَّلَهُ عَلَى قَلْبِكَ. When? In this very blessed month, in Laylatul Qadr. إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةِ الْقَدْرِ. Those incredible words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are so powerful and contain immense capacity that are able to transpire you. Those verses are able to outroot you from your misery and darkness and shoot you up high in the spiritual realms closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you read those verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you feel that they are directed to you and you are taught the code of life by His Majesty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You could be guided by reciting the Holy Quran. You could be guided by taking heed from the lessons in the Holy Quran. You could be guided by the stories of the prophets. The Holy Quran had incarnated the odyssey of every prophet from Adam to the very seal of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You could be guided by visiting the legacy of the prophets through the Quran. You can be guided in many different dimensions and means through the Holy Quran. فِيهِ شِفَاءٌ لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ. Right? هُوَ شِفَاءٌ لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ. It has a cure and a healing process for every single issue that you go through life. And then there's this one very important dimension that we would like to focus on in a few minutes. And that is the recital dimension of the Quran. The Quran that you hear and listen to. The verse says, وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنِ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَأَنصِتُوا. Listen to it. If Quran was recited, listen to it. So you can take heed and focus on the words. Pay attention to the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the word Quran, by the way, linguistically, it means what? It means the book that is read. The book that you can hear. That someone which is reading it. Right? That part is very powerful and it could penetrate your heart and impact you directly, my dear brothers and sisters. The three wicked, most notable polytheists of Mecca, the mushrikeen of Mecca, is Abu Jahl, Abu Sufyan, Al-Akhnas ibn Shurayq. Once the city had enveloped in darkness and every eye had fallen into sleep, they would creep to the house of the Prophet ﷺ with one objective, to listen to those mesmerizing, powerful, beautiful words of Allah Azza wa Jal. So they reach there, they complete listening to those words, they are inspired, they come back. Closer to Fajr, they bump into each other. So one goes to another, what are you doing here? And then they make this covenant not to come back again. What happens next night? They are here, gravitated and captivated by those verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Later on, Al-Akhnas talks to Abu Jahl, what's happening here? He says, I don't know. نَازَعُونَا بَنُو عَبْدُ الْمُطَّلِبْ عَلَى الشَّرَفِ فَأَطْعَمْنَا وَأَطْعَمُوا. He's like, the people of Banu Abdul Munaf, they disputed with us on who's most honorable. They fed people and we fed, they gave charity, we gave charity, until they came up with this prophet who has revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is literally not a work of a human being. This is divine work. So if those people were able to be astonished and captivated, then of course we, the followers, the lovers inshaAllah ta'ala of the Ahlul Bayt, could make use of that particle, right? Take for the example of Iyad ibn Fudayl. This man was a bandit. He would loot caravans and whatnot. One day he was breaking into a house and he's on the wall and he listens to someone which is reciting the Holy Quran, and he's specifically going through this ayah. أَلَمْ يَأْنِ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَن تَخْشَعَ قُلُوبُهُمْ لِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. Isn't it time for those who believe to heed and humble themselves when remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So he was struck. He was hit hard in the heart. He comes down and he says, Al-ana, al-ana ya Allah. Right now. The ayah is a question. أَلَمْ يَأْنِ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Isn't it time? Had time not come for you to humble yourself? So he's replying to the ayah saying, Al-ana, al-ana. Now I am humbling myself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And walking into the footsteps of this man, we also want to say to Allah, now we will humble ourselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His remembrance. Pick an ayah, come close to it, contemplate upon it, and watch it working miracle through you. And I recommend maybe starting with Surah Taha for my young brothers and sisters. Try out Surah Taha. It has I'm very sure you're going to find an ayah, a verse or two that would impact your heart, inshaAllah ta'ala. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.